We are back here on location at Kia of Anniston, Oxford for another edition of the Coach Sam Adams Show. Coach, I know it sounds like a broken record, but another day, another Oxford victory, and another fantastic showing by your quarterback, Mason Mims. But before we get into all that, just take us back to last Friday night, and you guys had a huge win, 47-8 over Huffman.
Yeah, we put a big emphasis last week on just starting the game fast. You know, that's something we kind of struggled with in the first few games of the year, and we were able to do that. Start off with a block punt that we recovered on the 1 yard line. So first snap of the game was a quarterback sneak for a touchdown. That's always a good thing. Yep, that's always a good thing. And really we were in control of the game from the very beginning. Defense allowed it was less than 100 total yards in the game. We're also able to get a lot of guys in, younger guys, toward the end of the game and get them some experience. So it was really a good night overall.
Now, Coach, did you have another block punt? Didn't Eli Bozeman
blocked the first one,
okay.
And then there was another one where we just tackled him back there.
Okay.
It wasn't technically a block, but they had a hard time with the snap.
Gotcha.
We knew their operation from snapper to punter was not the best, so we thought we'd have some opportunities to get the ball back down there.
That's the reason I bring that up. Sometimes a lot of people overlook special teams, and it's one of the 3 check marks you have to have. How awesome is that? Because that right there is like 14-point swings, basically. I mean,
yeah.
You can eliminate any kind of field position and stop them that deep in their territory. That is huge. Talk about that and how huge that is.
Yeah, that was, there's a lot of points scored in the game on our end, but statistically, as far as total yardage, it wasn't really a shining night for that because we had short field so much, especially in the first half. I mean, we had the 1 yard drive, like we just said, and there were several others where we're getting the ball back around the 50 or even a little bit closer. So that really we did a good job of playing complementary football. Defense did their job. That helped us control the field position end of it. Special teams made some huge plays, and then offense worked pretty efficiently once we got the ball.
Before we dive into that offense, let's talk about that defense. When you hold a team under 100 yards total offense, and then you get 2 block punts, obviously you have some short fields to work with, but how awesome was it to see that defense perform like that, especially with the meat of the schedule coming up, you know what you got coming down the stretch, to see them perform at such a high level?
That was great. We felt like the first few games, a lot of times, most of the time, we had guys there to make the plays that needed to be made, and we just had a hard time securing tackles in some areas, and that led to some explosive plays. And the other night, you really didn't see that at all. We had guys in position, they made the plays, they did their job, and we moved on to the next play. It was really good to see, and I'd like to think that we're growing on defense as we are in all parts of the game.
Now, you talk about growing. You got such a young team, and to see them starting to click, starting to get it, even like you talked about starting early. All right, we got that done this week. Just seeing this team grow like that, how special is that?
It's really rewarding. You see them. Whatever we've emphasized each week has been what we've seen the biggest growth on. So going back to the very first week, that's been the results that we've gotten each time. So hopefully we can continue to, as a coaching staff, identify where our warts are, where our shortcomings are, place emphasis on those, and it's showing our players are very coachable. They want to get better. They understand what it takes to get better. And as we sit here right now, we've made great strides since the first week of the season.
Now, Coach, now let's talk about that offense. When you got a short field like you did pretty much all night, you have to take advantage of it, and you did. Mason Mims, again, had 3 touchdown passes, I believe, and 2 on the ground.
He did.
So talk about his efficiency. And when we talked last week, he was hitting on 80% clip in the last few games.
Yeah, he's still right there at it. He was, I think, 16 for 20 or something like that in this game, right at that number. And he's just really doing a great job of making decisions, getting the ball out on time, being having a really good pocket presence. He's not what most people would label as a scrambler, but he's able to move around within the pocket to buy a little bit extra time when we got a little issue in the protection maybe, and he does a good job keeping his eyes down the field. So and he's really everything that we're looking for at that spot right now. and hopefully he'll continue to grow. There's every week there's a couple throws that he's like, man, I wish I'd had that one back. And we had a couple of those in this game too. But when you're operating that efficiently, then good things tend to happen.
Yeah, like I said last week, I think the game's obviously slowing down to him. And I tell you one thing, to have a 1 yard plunge for a touchdown right out of the gate probably gets that confidence up a little bit.
It does.
Now, let's fast forward a little bit. Let's talk about your opponent coming up this week. I think they've kind of shocked some people coming out of the gate, that people thought they were going to be down a little bit. That's not been the case.
No.
They just went and played who everybody has deemed, number one team in the state, 6A, down to the wire, 14-12, gut-wrenching loss to a crosstown rival, Clay Chalkville. But we're talking about Pinson Valley, who you had this week coming up. Coach, I know you guys have seen film on them. For the fans coming to this game and your guys that may be watching this, what have you seen from them?
They're a really good team at pretty much every position on the board. Defensively, they have a really athletic defensive front. They move them around a lot of slants, twists, things like that, and just try to cause some chaos really in the box, and they've been successful doing that. They have explosive players on the perimeter. Amari Thomas, jersey number 1, is their best receiver. And basically, they just put him in on defense whenever they need an interception, and that's what he's done in the first few games. He doesn't play every snap on defense, but he goes over there and picks the ball off and goes back out there when they need another interception. So
he just stays out there.
Yeah. Then you have the Metcalf brothers there, number 2 and number 4, that make a lot of plays. One at safety and one at corner. And they do work the older one at corner some as well. They have a young quarterback that's mobile and does a good job of getting the ball where it needs to go. I mean, there's no doubt Amari, number 1, is their number 1 target. They don't really make any bones about that, but there's other guys out there that they probably haven't gotten the number of opportunities as a receiver to show that they're really good. I mean, we got great respect for them as a program and for their players, and I know it'll be an absolute war on Friday.
Now, one huge positive is you guys get to host this game.
Yep.
How important is that? And for the fans at Oxford, which I don't have to tell them, they come out anyways, but to fill that place up and make that atmosphere something special for you guys.
Well, I mean, as far as regular season games go, there's none that get bigger than this. This is a huge game against a great program that's very familiar with Oxford. Oxford and Pinson have clashed, region, playoffs, non-region, all kinds of things in years past. So, given the history of the two teams in the last 5-7 years, and just how proud our community is and how much we support our football program, I know we'll have a great crowd out Friday night.
No doubt. And just overall final thoughts, Coach, before we shut it down.
This is a game of the week in several different avenues, and it's a huge opportunity for our guys to show how much we've grown over the past 4 weeks. Pinson played a really tight one with McAdory, who was our first week opponent. They're very similar to them in a lot of ways. They're not the same kind of team, but they're very similar to them in a lot of ways. And so, I think it's just a good opportunity for us all the way around.
No doubt. I agree with you. Coach, good luck to you guys on Friday, and looking forward to that game. That's actually our game of the week for Road to the Blue Map this week as well. So we're just going to follow suit with everyone because, as you said, it does not get any bigger than this in a regular season game.
That's right.
Coach, that's all we have for this week. We'll be back here next Monday for our next edition of the Sam Adams Show. Thank you.